right, we're going to call the village board meeting to order for April 13th, 2021. Will you join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. A couple things. Can I get a motion to put me in as chair for tonight?
So moved.
Second. Diane, roll call.
Pressman,
Yes.
Kirkland. Yes. Anderson.
Yes.
And DeVoe. Yes.
Okay, that's passed. Quick note here, Mayor Chapman is ill. Trustee Warren, his father had a fall and he had to go take off to assist him. And Luciano is out of town. So we have enough here to do the village business, barely, but we will get it done. So we got roll call. Is there anybody in line or online attending tonight's meeting online? No staff, no citizens?
John with the building department's here.
Okay, John, thanks. Anybody else? All right. Is there any citizens that would like to address the village board? No? Okay. Oh, we didn't do roll call? Sorry. No, that was just, you're right, we didn't do roll call. That was, yeah, roll call, please.
Pressman. Here. DeVoe.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
And Kirkland. Here.
Okay. There's no citizens, so we'll go on to the consent agenda. First item is approval of the regular meetings for March 23rd, 2021. Approval of the committee of the whole meeting minutes from March 23rd, 2021. Approval of the executive session minutes for July 9th, 2019, January 14th, and May 12th of 2020. Item 4, approval of destruction of the audio of executive session minutes released in 2019. Number 5, approval in accounts payable in the amount of $588,182.59. 6, approval of a payment in the amount of $57,946.62 to John Deere Construction retail sales for a mini excavator. Item 7, approval of the purchase in the amount of $23,280 to Midwest Public Safety for 5 in-squad tablets. The last item, number 8, approval of a grant payment in number 7 in the amount of $3,450 to Shorewood Care Small Business Relief Program recipients. Is there any trustee that would like to have any of the minutes or pulled or talked about? No?
Second.
Diane, roll call.
Brockman.
Yes.
DeVoe.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
And Kirkland. Yes.
All right, consent agenda is approved. Proclamations for the mayor, there is none that I'm aware of. He didn't mention anything to me, so we're going to skip that. We'll go on to item number 1, consideration for approval of an ordinance granting the amendment of the constitutional or conditional use for a planned unit development, conditional use for personal care uses, and site plan approval to operate a salon suites business at 25157 West Jefferson Street in the village of Shorewood, Will County, Illinois. This is up for a first read. Mr. Brockman and Kelly Chrissy.
Thank you, Dan. At our last planning and zoning meeting, Bill Slavic and his attorney, mayor-elect for Plainfield, John Arkadelis, came before us. And we did hold a public hearing. We had three or four people came up and were concerned about the use of the site. And I think Mr. Slavic and his attorney answered the questions very, very good, in my opinion. It did come here with a 7-0 vote from the planning and zoning. And for the particulars, I'll turn it over to Kelly.
Thank you, Trustee Brockman. So as you'll recall, this was before the board about a month ago for a concept plan. It is the former Coldwell Banker building on Jefferson Street. Here's some graphics for those that want to refresh your memory. In terms of a proposed building modifications, there are going to be 7 salon suites. Each suite will have a separate tenant with individual licensing and registration. Only one person will be permitted to operate out of each tenant suite. There will be shared laundry, kitchen, break room, restrooms, and a waiting room. And there will be some secured access, and this was one of the concerns that were raised by the public, whether or not there would be walk-in appointments. And so these are, or excuse me, walk-ins accepted, and it is not, that's not the design of this use. So the individual tenants would have to be notified that their appointments have arrived, and then go to the door and allow them to come into the space. The property owner will also have some cameras and other security features installed as part of that, the improvements being made to the property. There are some changes being made to the site itself in terms of a parking lot expansion. So the building footprint will not change. There's only going to be the interior remodel. The 14 parking spaces essentially to the east of the building will remain, but then south of the building, or I'm sorry, I should also note, there's some existing light poles that are already on the site. They're shown here in the orange dots. And then there's also an existing 8-foot tall fence shown here in the green dashed line. The parking lot addition will net 3 additional parking spaces. And the reason that we've worked with them to make this accommodation is because there's no additional room for them to go if there's no parking on the site. So this will make sure that they're minimizing any impacts in terms of parking, or if there's appointments that are coming and going at the same time, this will be able to accommodate that. Then there's also the addition of 1 new light pole in the parking lot, which is shown here in the purple circle. And that will be an 8-foot tall pole with a shielded light fixture to minimize the impact to the adjacent properties. In terms of the proposed landscaping modifications, there will be some plantings and trees that will have to be removed in order to accommodate the site modifications. And as a result, the petitioner will be replacing or even relocating those existing plantings elsewhere on the site to ensure that it still meets code requirements. So as you can see on the image here, the X'd out circles indicate the locations of where those, generally speaking, where those plantings will be removed from, and then the brighter green shows generally where they'll be relocated to. The PZC did recommend approval for allowing the personal care uses, again with the 7 suites, 1 person per suite. With the site plan amendment, they did recommend approval with the attached plans to the ordinance, that the lighting be directed away from adjacent properties, the landscaping as I described. With the site plan amendment would be the elimination of a rear yard setback, which currently exists, but it will be expanded as part of this approval. And then that existing fence is required to be maintained for the life of the conditional use. We do have the petitioner here today, if there are any questions.
So each unit, I guess, for lack of a better term, is a separate owner?
Correct.
So those are all different businesses within one building, right?
Yes.
Okay, and the way this is set up, none of them will have any, like, assistant type people helping them with any of their services, or?
That is correct. So typically they operate as independent contractors anyhow, and so often they make their own appointments. And so there would only be 1 employee, 1 person that is permitted to operate out of each tenant space.
And so if they decided that at some point, I need an assistant because whatever, these types of services, sometimes it just, something they have to come back to us for, or?
It would require an amendment to the conditional use if that were the case.
Didn't when we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, didn't they have a common receptionist?
I believe there's a shared waiting room, but
Okay.
Mr. Slavic will be able to speak better to that.
John Argadelis on behalf of the applicant.
Bill Slavic.
Did you have a common receptionist, or I thought that was talked about a couple of
No,
weeks ago?
no
Okay.
receptionist.
All right, just so each girl or each person will have their own phone line, I guess, an appointment book, and just let the customers in as needed.
Correct.
Okay,
It's typically the way that it works. Each stylist kind of has their own schedule. So not everybody was 9 to 5. You know, some are every other day, some are 2 days a week, 4 days a week. It's just whatever fits their, particular schedule. So my daughter currently rents a space in Plainfield, and the way that it works, when you show up for your appointment, you just shoot them a text and say that you're there, and they come and let you in the front door. Everybody, all the 7 stylists that would be there will have a key fob, so when they show up, they'll be able to let themselves in and out that way. But as far as, walk-ins or anything like that, it doesn't work like that.
all right, thanks. Any other questions?
And correct me if I'm wrong, Kelly, I think the one resident was worried that this could turn into, if this, God forbid, would fail, turn into a 7-Eleven or a liquor store, and I think that cannot happen.
That is correct. So this is not a rezoning. This is an amendment to a conditional use that already exists for the property, where the restricted uses are, the uses are only able to be business and professional offices. The amendment to the conditional use would then allow personal care uses in addition to business and professional offices. And so it would not allow a retail store or a liquor store to be able to occupy in the space with this approval.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thanks for clarifying that.
If there's no other questions or concerns, I'll make a motion to approve an ordinance granting amendment to the conditional use for a plan unit development, conditional use for personal care uses, and site plan approval to operate a salon suites business at 25157 West Jefferson in the village of Shorewood, and waive the second read.
Second.
All right, roll call.
Kirkland.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
DeVold.
Yes.
And Brockman.
Yes.
All right, item 1 is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Move on to item 2, consideration for approval of ordinance granting a conditional use to operate a restaurant and approval of a site plan for 19735 Northeast Frontage Road for a Pizza Ranch restaurant. This is first read. Trustee Brockman and Kelly Chrissy.
Okay, thank you again, Dan. I'll start this off, and we did hold a public hearing on this. No one spoke for or against the project. The commissioners were concerned with the one limited picture that we did get, that we maybe need to up that a little bit. And so they're going to work on that with staff. And so Kelly, you want to give us the particulars on this, please?
Yes, thank you. So the proposed Pizza Ranch is going to be located at 19735 Northwest Frontage Road, which is between the La Quinta, which I'm happy to announce received their temporary occupancy yesterday. So, and we'll be working with them to plan a grand opening. But the Pizza Ranch is also owned by the same owners, and it is located between the La Quinta and the Econo Lodge on Northwest Frontage Road. It is located in the B4 zoning district, which is why a conditional use to operate a restaurant is required. So in terms of the Pizza Ranch restaurant, it is a buffet-style, sort of family-oriented restaurant. You have the ability to also order from a menu, but it is largely geared towards buffet. They have dine-in service with a capacity of 200 seats for the restaurant itself, and then they also offer carry-out, including delivery service. They do have an arcade as part of this location, and they call it the Fun Zone. So that is accessible to the restaurant patrons as well as those that are booking the party room. So they do have a couple different party rooms that can be broken up into smaller rooms or have a large space with a 40-seat capacity. In terms of the site or the proposed site plan, they are proposing an 8,000 square foot restaurant building. And then in terms of access, that would be, they do not have a direct access onto frontage road, so they have the shared access from the adjacent properties, which would be from La Quinta as well as Econo Lodge. And then as you can see, the parking lot encompasses really 3 sides of the building. In terms of the landscape plan, they have not requested relief from any of the landscaping regulations or any of the other zoning regulations at this time. However, with the landscaping, we did work with them to try and beef up a little bit of landscaping on the eastern property line. This is adjacent to the existing detention basin that was put in for the La Quinta project. And really that's just to try and minimize any noise for the residential neighborhood that's even farther to the east of this. This is the proposed elevations for Pizza Ranch. I should note that we have not evaluated the sign package at this time. They were not ready to bring that forward when we started with this project. So we'll be working with them. If they do need to request relief, it'll be at a separate application and it will come forward at a later date. As Trustee Brockman noted, there were some concerns from the Planning and Zoning Commission about trying to elevate the design. I should note that this is really intended to be more of a ranch-style building and feel to go with their sort of motif. This is a prototype, so not the exact building that would be proposed, but we have been working with Pizza Ranch as well as the petitioner's architect in order to try and add some additional stone elements. And we haven't received anything just yet, but we're working with them as directed by the PZC. So here's just a sampling of the materials. You can see it's very earth tones and, you know, again, sort of country feel in terms of the color palette. So if I could, I do want to mention, this is getting into the next agenda item, but since they all kind of go together, if you'll allow me to present them together, this is the final plat of subdivision for the Narmada subdivision. This was originally approved when the La Quinta project came forward. Unfortunately, with the Pizza Ranch proposal, there was a modification that was required in order to allow more site area for the Pizza Ranch in terms of making sure there was adequate parking. And so as you'll see from this dashed black line here, that was the original division or dividing line between the 2 lots. And that has just been shifted east to be able to, again, provide more parking area for the Pizza Ranch project. One thing to note is that in terms of stormwater, there will be modifications to the existing detention basin that's on site, as well as some underground that's being provided on the Pizza Ranch property. So the village engineer has reviewed the proposal and recommends approval of that as well. We do have the engineer, the project engineer here for this project, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Well, the underground part or water detention was underground. I noticed it, or I read in the packet, and you also mentioned there's on-site top storage, ground level storage.
Correct. So I'll go back to a site plan here, or actually an aerial, if I, can get to the right one. So as you can see from the La Quinta project, there is already an existing surface detention basin. And so with this project, it's actually going to be modified a bit. And the project engineer could likely talk a little bit more to this, but whatever capacity is not being able to be provided in the surface detention would then be provided in the underground on the Pizza Ranch property.
Good evening. Tom Carroll with Geotech Incorporated. Yeah, that's exactly right. We're taking essentially the storage volume that was in the dry basin, and we're just replacing it with an underground vault system.
All right, sounds good.
Any idea how many pizza ranches are out there?
I don't off the top of my head. I know they have locations in Iowa, southern Illinois, Wisconsin, I believe South Dakota. But off the top of my head, I'm not sure exactly how many franchises they have.
The other night, and I forgot to, so.
They do have a number in Wisconsin as well, so, right. I didn't ask the total number either.
And the applicant is from the Morton, Peoria area, and I know they have stores or restaurants in that area, and so that's how he's familiar with it. So he liked the restaurants down there and thought it would be a good fit in this area.
All right, thank you. Council, can we put 2 and 3 together, or you want that separate?
You can do those together.
Okay, thank you.
But this is just the first read, though. Did you want to, I mean, being that you don't have the more elevation pictures and you don't have the pictures of the signs, I would say we just sit on this for 2 weeks till we get the rest of that.
Well, in terms of signs, if they're requesting any relief, we'll have to go through the public hearing process again. We wouldn't have to for modifications to the elevations. If you'd like to hold off on voting on this until you receive the revised elevations, we could certainly
Well, it's just a little less than what we usually see, that's all.
I'm sorry?
Just a little less of the you just had one picture. I mean, that picture you had up there was, I mean, if it looks anything close to that, it would be nice.
Well, and so minimally, what we would get is these elevations here where there's the
Yeah.
stone around the 2 entrances, so the main entrance, and then there's a carry-out entrance. So this would minimally be what we would expect. If you do want to see the revisions.
Well, I just threw
before
that
it's
out there. I
approved-
mean, I don't know if I know it was approved or by
Well, is
the
there going to
board.
be anything done in the next 2 weeks?
I do know that Pizza Ranch has been, Quentin was the representative that attended the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, and we've been working with him. He was hoping to have a rendering for tonight's meeting, but unfortunately couldn't make that happen.
So you could have in 2 weeks, Brenda?
I believe it's possible.
Yeah, I would agree. They just weren't able to turn it around for today's meeting, but I would imagine by the end of this week, they'd have something, so.
Well, 2 certainly, then we can hold off. 3, you want to go ahead with that one then?
Well, she covered it already, so,
Sir?
do we want to go ahead with the?
What company are you with?
Geotech Incorporated?
Because 3 is not going to
Three,
change.
yeah, 3 we could do that.
Correct.
We could go, move on to 3. You want to touch on that real quick and we'll table 2 and then we'll approve 3 here if we need to.
Sure, and ultimately, the final plat revision is really just 1 line, and so that's where I'd mentioned, in terms of the subdivision, they're just moving 1 line to accommodate the larger site for Pizza Ranch.
Good.
Okay, let's go with that one then. Make an approval for the final plat of subdivision for the Armada subdivision, Unit 2, for 19715 to 19735 Northeast Frontage Road, and waive the second read.
Second.
All right, roll call.
That you, Dan?
Cece.
Cece. DeBold,
Yes.
Brockman,
Yes.
Anderson, and Kirkland.
Okay, 3 is approved. Can we get a motion on item 2 to table that, Steve?
This first read, so.
Okay, we'll just skip it. All right, all right, first read, we write that down here. All right, item 4, consideration for approval of a resolution approving the final plat of subdivision for GoPro Sports subdivision for property commonly known as 14285 and 14339 County Line Road, Kendall County. Trustee Brockman and Kelly Christie.
Okay, thank you again, Dan. I think we've been kicking this around about a year. All know what's going to happen out there. Kelly, you want to give us any of the particulars about it?
Sure. I just have 1 slide here to refresh your memory about the lot configuration. There hasn't been anything that's changed in terms of the subdivision itself. This is consistent with the draft subdivision that was a part of the annexation agreements that were approved by the board last year. We do have Dan Kramer on WebEx if there's any questions. But aside from that, this is in conformance with the annexation agreements. Oh, I do, actually, I'm sorry, I do have 1 other note. There were some conditions that were part of the Planning and Zoning Commission's recommendation, but those have been removed because they've already been accommodated on the plat that's being presented.
All right, Steve, you got anything else?
Well, I'll just make a comment that if there's any business at all there, it's going to be a problem out there with the roads the way they are right now. I remember going out 52 20 years ago, and I'd go 20 miles west on 52 in the morning, and I'd be lucky if I met 3 cars. And now I go out there, same time in the morning, and I'll bet you I meet 250 cars.
Yeah.
I don't have any idea where they're coming from, but in that same distance. So I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion for this approval, but I'm just saying, boy, I think we're setting ourselves up with that road out there. So anyway.
I mean, just to be clear, though, we do have an annexation agreement for this property, and I believe part of that annexation does require the approval of the plat of subdivision.
You're correct. But it doesn't improve the intersection.
Does it
In the
approve or
intersection you're talking
implement?
about is
Doesn't do any improvements to the county line and 52 intersection,
It does not, you're correct.
except Attorney Kramer did say something about that they're not going to plant corn on the southwest corner of that property, and I don't know if he wants to chime in, but I mean, the southwest, to me, is not a problem. It's the southeast corner where you have to look backwards, and that's where, well, anyway, we did call for Attorney Kramer if he wanted to say anything, so.
Am I live or am I muted here?
we can hear you.
Go ahead.
Okay. Again, as Mr. Silverman indicated, we've got the annexation agreement approving or embodying or attaching this final plat, so we've been faithful to that. We've done everything we can as far as creating a traffic study for IDOT, which has been submitted, that they're reviewing the comments and so on. And hopefully that leads to the 52 intersection being approved quicker. We do not own the corner, so we can't help with that. But we did do the site improvement. I'm sorry with the phone here. But we did do the dedication of right-of-way on the west side, so if they improve it, will be better.
Call from.
Sorry about that background.
Okay,
all right.
thank you. Thank you very much. Make a motion to approve a resolution approving the final plat of subdivision for GoPro Sports subdivision for property commonly known as 14285 to 14339 County Line Road, Kendall County.
Second.
All right, Diane, roll call.
Kirkland. Anderson.
Yes.
Brockman.
Yes.
And DeVold.
Yes.
All right, agenda
Thank you
item.
very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Agenda item 4 is approved. We'll move on to 5. Consideration of approval of ordinance granting a conditional use to operate a drinking establishment at 1146 West Jefferson Street in the village of Shorewood, Will County, Illinois. It's Mauve Nosh, what is it, Liberations?
Libations.
First, this is up for first read, Mr. Brockman and Kelly Chrissy.
Okay, thank you again, Dan. The petitioners came before us. We did have a public hearing on this. No one spoke for or against it at the meeting from the public, and comes here with a 7-0 vote. And if this will be between Happy Place and Will County Brewing. So should be a nice fit. So Kelly, if you could finish us off here,
Thank
please.
you.
Thank you.
So this is located in Hamel Creek Commons, and it is going into the former Sacred Path Yoga Studio, which is between Happy Place and Will County Brewing. This is this business is looking to offer upscale crafted cocktails in small plates. They are a smaller setting, so it'll be more intimate. They are targeting a more mature crowd, hoping to have some live entertainment, nothing really amplified, but given the space, they want to have some more intimate entertainment options, which could be acoustics and poetry reading, things like that. They have been in contact with Will County Brewing. There are some discussions about possibly sharing an outdoor dining space or an outdoor seating area. And so if they decide to move forward with the seating area, then we would review that for whether or not it needs a site plan approval at that time. But for now, they are requesting the conditional use to operate a drinking establishment. They will need to renovate the space since they are going to be adding a kitchen. And I think, they do intend to open August 1st. So they are here, as well as their attorney, if there are any questions. I should note one other thing. I apologize. The PZC did add a condition to prohibit video gaming as part of this conditional use.
I understood you correctly to say at the public hearing, no one spoke for or against it, right?
That is correct.
Okay. I just want to make sure that.
Well, I apologize.
Let me take that back,
yep.
Cookie. There was somebody from, what was the name of that street directly behind the strip mall?
Home court?
Yes.
Yeah, and they were concerned, I'm glad you brought that up. They were concerned about garbage, and they mentioned music, and but they didn't mention if they heard Will County's music or not. Did they?
I do believe that they were concerned about Will County's.
They were concerned about it, but did they say if they heard it?
I don't recall.
I don't either, but they were concerned that they do have music to make sure there wasn't loud, and I think the petitioners assured us they weren't going to have a loud music in there, so.
Well, and the reason that I asked is because on social media, I saw stuff out there, and I thought, well, if they put it on social media, but they don't come here and voice their concerns, there's nothing we can do.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah,
Can the petitioner come to the podium or the representative?
I completely forgot about that. There was one couple that came forward. I'm sorry.
John Argadelis again on behalf of the petitioner.
Nicholas Pena.
Kayla Saunders.
Thank you. I have a couple of quick questions just for clarifying everything then. Video gaming, do you guys even have the intent?
No, we don't. We actually do not have the space for it.
Okay, thank you. Regarding your accordion that you're referencing, I see in your drawing that you referenced, the intent would be to try to create some sort of outdoor seating. If that's not practical, are you still looking to at least put the accordion partitions in the front of the storefront?
We are.
Okay, very good. Can you touch on, in the description, you touch on poetry, light type of music. Can you at least elaborate just a little bit more on that from your perspective, please?
Yeah, we would just, obviously we don't have room for a full band since we're 1,200 square feet. So we were thinking one acoustic player, a little microphone, just enough for the bar to hear, and light poetry reading, same with the microphone. We do plan on closing at 10 during the week and 11 on the weekends, so we wouldn't play music past 10 o'clock.
Thank you. And does anybody know, I believe Will County even closes at 11, which is the neighboring business. And I believe Happy Place also closes right there at 10-ish as well, maybe 9?
They close at 8 now.
Is it 8? Okay, so it sounds like that entire plaza would be closed by 11 on a weekend.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, glad, hope you guys can make it over there and get you.
Anything
in
else?
there.
Did you have anything else?
We were just going to, in case there are any questions, or we'll wait here. Or
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Make a motion to approve an ordinance granting a conditional use to operate a drinking establishment at 1146 West Jefferson, Village of Shorewood. Waive the second read.
Second.
Roll call, Diane.
Kirkland?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
DeBold?
Yes.
Brockman?
Yes.
All right, item number 5 is.
thank you
approved.
again.
Welcome aboard and hope you guys do well over there.
Excellent.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna get you some liquor license now here, so hang on a second. Number 6 is consideration of approval of an ordinance creating additional Class A and Class I liquor license. Mayor Chapman usually takes this, but Kelly's gonna handle it tonight.
Sure. So Nick and Kayla have, with Mauve Nosh and Libations, have requested a Class A tavern liquor license with live entertainment, and then a Class I, again, for the live entertainment. Since we've already introduced this, I'm happy to answer any questions, but the ordinance presented to you is an amendment to the code to allow the expansion of those licenses.
Yeah.
I make the motion to approve the licenses and waive the second read.
Second.
All right, roll call. Just real quick, just so people know, the fees are 18 and a quarter and 500 on the A and I's liquor license fees, so. Roll call, please.
Brockman,
Yes.
DeBold, Anderson.
Yes.
And Kirkland.
Yes.
All right, item number 6 is approved. Thank you again. Item 7, consideration for approval of an agreement with ComEd for use of village roads. Mr. Noriel.
Thank you. Well, ComEd's doing a lot of improvements in the area. Specifically, they're going to be replacing 95 of their towers, starting at the Manuka substation, working their way through Shorewood, through Plainfield, Joliet, and into Romeoville. You've already probably have seen some minor work occurring. What this agreement will allow for is for them to bring in heavier equipment utilizing our roads. They will be working with the other municipalities, which I believe they have all approvals, except I haven't heard of if the village of Romeoville has issued their permit. But they're also working with the township, Joliet and such, for similar agreements and permitting. So this one will allow them to utilize Black Road between Route 59 and the ComEd easement. It'll also allow them to use portions of Sile Road from County Line to the ComEd easement, so they'll be coming from the west into, on the west side of town, working their way east toward the ComEd easement. Similar also on Mound Road, so from County Line to the ComEd easement. The fees associated that's being assessed is $7,700 and $10, which is based on our current ordinances for associating with annual fees for certain classification and weights of the vehicles. They will also be providing us a pavement evaluation of our roadway system so that if there's any discrepancies, we'll have that on video and pictures of our roadway so that if there's anything that needs repair, they will be addressing. Agreement also takes care of cleaning up of the roadway. So if there's any mud debris, they will be responsible for cleaning it. There's also a list of the equipment that they had indicated that they will be utilizing. That is also listed, and they will also provide a security bond in the amount of $40,000 to help ensure that the roads are repaired accordingly. Staff is recommending approval of the agreement. Any questions?
Now, are you gonna have them coming in on any specific route with some of that? I seen some of the equipment is, some heavy stuff. Are you gonna, I obviously they're not gonna come in on the neighborhood streets, but what, River Road to Black, or are you gonna have them come out 52 to County Line, or?
Correct. So 52 is a state roadway, so they'll be utilizing a lot of the state roadways. The only roadway that we're actually utilizing through the village is Black Road. So from Route 59 coming into the town, they'll be allowed to use Black Road over to the west to get to the ComEd easement. Now, if they have to get to their ComEd easement off of Mound or Sile, we're requiring them to utilize 52 or, Route 52 to County Line and then come from the west. We do not want them utilizing River Road.
All right.
Has the pavement analysis been done, considering that the project's already started?
They indicate that they have completed it. They just not have provided us the flash drive or the links to download all of it.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
Make the motion to approve the agreement with ComEd for village roads.
All right, roll call.
Kirkland,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
DeBold.
Yes.
And Brockman.
Yes.
All right, item 7 is approved. Item 8, consideration for approval of a resolution for improvement under the Illinois Highway Code 2020 MFT resurfacing project. Noriega.
Thank you again. Now, this is not to be confused with our upcoming resurfacing project. We're doing some cleanup with our last project last year, the 2020 resurfacing. Now, we allocated originally $500,000 of MFT funding for the project. Last year during COVID, there was a little bit of concern what allocations we're going to receive from the state. Because we received a little bit more than we anticipated, of course, we wanted to utilize the MFT funds over our own general capital improvement funds for this project. So we were able to allocate an additional $125,000 of MFT funds toward this project. So by requirement of the MFT procedures, acknowledgement from the village board for a resolution supplementing that 125 must be approved. We're recommending approval of the resolution. Any questions?
Nope.
Move to approve a resolution for improvement under the Illinois Highway Code 2020 MFT research.
Second.
All right, Diane, roll call.
DeBold,
Yes.
Brockman,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
and Kirkland.
All right, item number 8 is approved. Number 9, consideration for approval of a proposal for professional service and infrastructure management services. This is IMS for the pavement analysis and report of our roadway network in the amount of $45,336. Noriel.
Thank you again. Might be familiar with this. IMS Pavement Study has been performed in the past for the village. It is a study that utilizes scientific data. They do drive every roadway, and they not only do a surface evaluation, but they also do a deflection test. So the weight of the vehicle does measure the deflection in the base. The more deflection pretty much will indicate that there's a little bit more base failure or starting to show base failure in those roadways. Now, I like to indicate that we will not only do our own visual inspection, our own analysis at staff level here, whichever potholes, whichever roadways or streets our public works are tired of filling potholes where we see a lot of surface cracks and webbing, but we also like to use this to help justify any of our selection process. The last time we did the village used IMS as a professional service in town was in 2017. It is recommended anytime between 3 to 5 years. It has been 4 years. We've had a lot of improvement. It would be a good time to show what we've done to improve and also set the baseline for the future. We are recommending the approval of the professional services for IMS in the amount of $45,336. Any questions?
Just one comment. We used it in 17. It was a good tool to have in our toolbox down there at the Public Works, so I'm all for it. So.
I'll make the motion, we approve the agreement with IMS, $45,336.
Yeah, roll call.
DeBold,
Yes.
Kirkland,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
and Brockman.
Yes.
All right, number 9 is approved. Item 10, consideration for approval of a proposal from RCP Shelters in the amount of $17,595 for Shorewood Park Pavilion replacement and waive the bid process. Noriega.
Thank you again. As you remember or recall, the shelter, a big tree fell on it last October. This tree survived the tornado in May, the windstorm in July, the other tornado in August, and the most calmest October day it decided to drop, and it dropped on our pavilion. Staff, rather than repairing the existing pavilion, which was already considered for replacement in the past, it wasn't in the greatest shape, at least aesthetically, but it did have a rustic look over at in the park. That's why it was probably kept a little longer. We decided to demolish the existing damaged pavilion with the intent to replace. We do have $25,000 in the budget. We did receive 3 different proposals. It is for a standard 24 by 24 metal roof pavilion. The low quote was from RCP Shelters in the amount of $17,595. Public Works staff will be the ones installing and erecting. They have done this in the past. I have not witnessed it, but they have done and built a lot over at Four Seasons Park and such. So I feel confident we should be able to put this in our schedule and get this up. So there is about a 5-week delivery. So if we're able to afford, we will then schedule as soon as we receive. Staff is recommending approval of the quote from RCP Shelters in the amount of $17,595. Any questions?
I think we talked about this, at least I know I talked to you about it a few times, but yeah, let's get this done, we can do it in-house.
It's under budget, and I like it. Make the motion to approve the bid from RCP Shelters in the amount of $17,595.
Diane, roll call.
Anderson?
Yes.
Kirkland?
Yes.
Brockman?
Yes.
And DeBold?
Yes.
All right, item number
Thank you.
10 is approved. Move on to 11, consideration for approval of a resolution authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental indemnification agreement between the Village of Shorewood and the City of Wilmington for use with the gun range. Chief Klima.
So the police department uses local ranges to train and certify on. The range in Shanahan, where we've been using for many years, is property's been sold. Shanahan is in a transition. We need another place to go. This is a standard liability agreement for us to simply use the City of Shanahan's range. Oh, sorry, City of Wilmington, my mistake, yeah.
All right, any questions? Nope. Need a motion?
Approve a resolution authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental indemnification agreement between the Village of Shorewood and the City of Wilmington for the use of the gun range.
Second.
Roll call.
DeBold?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brockman?
Yes.
And Kirkland?
Yes.
All right. Item 11 is approved. Number 12, consideration for approval of an office license agreement with the Plainfield Shorewood Area Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Collada.
Thank you. So as you know, the Shorewood Chamber has merged with the Plainfield Chamber, and this new organization would like to continue to utilize the office and storage space and meeting rooms here at Village Hall. So what is before you is an agreement that would allow that to continue for the remainder of this calendar year. Its terms and types of uses that would be allowed are virtually identical to what we have been doing with the Shorewood Chamber. So the monthly payment would be $534.28 per month. There is also an opportunity for an option to extend it beyond this year for one additional year if the chamber wishes to do so, but they must give written notification to us by November 1st of this year.
Okay. Well, I'm glad. I hope they're going to stay here for a long time, but see what happens, huh?
Glad to see representation here. I make the motion to approve the office agreement with Plainfield Shorewood Area Chamber of Commerce.
Roll call.
DeBold?
Yes.
Kirkland?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
And Brockman?
Yes.
Number 12 is approved. Final agenda item, consideration for approval of an ordinance directing the authorization and disposal of surplus property by the Village of Shorewood. Mr. Collada.
Thank you. This is one of the disposal items you've seen before. What we have is various pieces of computer and other equipment that is obsolete or no longer viable. So what we are proposing is to declare that surplus so that we can properly dispose of this equipment.
All the memory, Fran's going to wipe all the memory?
Correct.
And all that stuff? Yeah, okay.
Make the motion to dispose surplus equipment, waive the second read.
Roll call.
Kirkland?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
DeBold?
Yes.
And Brockman?
Yes.
All right, item 13 is approved. Move on to reports. Up first, Public Works. Just a few things. Traffic light at 59 or Black Road and Shorewood Drive is moving along. A little bit of storm or rain delay and a little bit of underground delay there. So there's no work up there the last few days. Still waiting on Edison to approve a little bit of a conflict underground. So street sweeping is continuing on through the village, and the other big thing is some litter pickup along the frontage roads. It's been a mess out there from the winter, so that's getting done. And we did use the mini backhoe on some drainage issues, and Noriel, that worked out pretty well, I assume?
Oh, yeah. Work right away.
Yeah. I seen some pictures of it. It looks good, so I assume the picture you sent was wrapped up or pretty close to being a finished project, so.
That's correct.
Yep, they look good, so. And that's all I have. Trustee Brockman on Planning and Zoning.
Thank you, Dan. Our next meeting will be May 5th here at the Village Hall. Too early for an agenda right now, so next meeting, May 5th. Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Kirkwood, Parks and Rec.
Thank you. Our spring community scavenger hunt starts Monday, April 19th. Be sure to visit our website to sign up. It was a great success. We did it last year. Registration for the community-wide garage sale ends on Friday. The garage sale will be April 23rd and 24th. And village-wide cleanup will take place on Tuesday, April 27th, which is the garbage day after the garage sales. Like, follow, and subscribe to the village Facebook, Instagram, and constant contact for village updates and news about special events and programs.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, Parks and Recreation, Mr. Luciano is not here tonight, but Jim Collada, our administrator, is going to comment on it.
Yeah, Trustee Luciano wanted me to remind everyone the next meeting will be held on April the 29th here at Village Hall, also remotely, beginning at 7 p.m. And we'll have representatives from the Plainfield Shorewood Chamber of Commerce present at that meeting to give a brief presentation.
All right, that's it?
Yep. Correct, Citizen Advisory, 29th of April.
All right, gentlemen, we're in line for, and ladies, we're in line for adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call.
Kirkland?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
DeBold?
Yes.
And Brockman?
Yes.
All right, we're adjourned.